Hey there, YouTubers and subscribers! RoseRed17 here, and this is my reanalyzed videos of a character from Fairy Tail, the Fire Dragon Slayer himself, Natsu Dragneel. Now, I have said this a million times before that Natsu is my favorite character in the series, and it's not just because he's one of the main characters, but there's something about him that makes me want to know more, whether it be his backstory, his goal of finding his father, or just a general idea of his character. He's also fun and exciting to watch, even during the times when he does something so idiotic and reckless that make me want to slap him. But thanks to his charm, you can't stay mad at him forever, which always works for me because I can't help but love the guy. But one thing about Natsu that I have noticed is that Fairy Tail fans start to see him as a one-dimensional character who hasn't changed at all throughout the series. I do try to pay attention to the small details in Natsu's development, as no one else will because of that one reason. They think he's just the same guy who doesn't change, so they just ignore him or they don't like him because of that. But thanks to Rex the Hero's video that changes their mind about the character. Link is in the description below if you wish to watch. It may be long, but it's worth it. But there is something else that is blocking the viewers to notice Natsu's change, and that is the development of Lucy Harphelia, who starts out as the weak DID who have to be saved all the time into a strong mage who ends up saving them in return. Most fans are surprised by the change towards her, so all the attention focused on the celestial mage instead of the dragon slayer, because some might see the change in Natsu's character as an already strong character who wants to get stronger, boring, while Lucy is more exciting. Natsu's character has more of an impact on me because, for one thing, I like characters who are already strong to begin with and kind of a reckless but carefree person, and Natsu is all the above. But I would love to see him balance out his way to fight. At first, he takes on a foe head on without thinking, and it's not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to brain power, but he does learn to think ahead in certain arcs, and it's mind-blowing to see that side of him fleshed out. It is a surprise from a character like Natsu. He enjoys a good fight when it comes to dueling or competition, but when it comes to war and battles, he can't stand it. But he does it to protect his family and the innocent people around him.
I don't think you understand something about me. I mean, I enjoy a good fight, but only when it's a competition. I hate it when it involves death like this one. I'll do anything for us to win, or else we won't survive this.
Fighting has always been his strong suit, but when it comes to brain power, however, we the Fairy Tail fans know that Natsu isn't the smartest. Except when he's in the battle with someone, his mind becomes empowered, but comes up with ideas that are pretty effective towards the odds against the enemy. I can think of two. One is during the Galuna Island arc, and the other, spoilers, is in the 100 Quest manga. Galuna Island arc, he tricked one of the enemies into paralyzing himself and smashed in the building within to cause it to tip over so the moon drip will be blocked from the demon frozen inside. And the 100-year quest, he tricked the fake Sarah created by the wood dragon god into activating the curse that takes away life around him, and thus killing himself in the process. There are other times when Natsu thinks ahead before throwing a fist.
Oh crap! Whoever said you were my target?
He outsmarted me.
Wendy! Roar at me with everything you've got! Just do it! Hurry!
Okay! Sky Dragon! Rogue up there's giving you more trouble than you thought he would.
I can take him. But how?
Then he tried to make me an hors d'oeuvre.
They've got an appetite, huh? That's it!
Huh?
I figured out how to take him down!
My arms are gonna tear off!
Yeah!
What's up?
There it is! Uh-oh! Get a sniff of this! Catch up! If we had that bottle, we could free the whole village and be done with this job!
You're being unusually quiet over there, Natsu.
Just thinking about our next move. We're gonna pay Sabretooth a visit.
Huh? I'm trying to think. Come on, Natsu, get serious, would ya? Normally you would have put the hurt on a pushover like this by now, so what's the deal?
Yeah, I know. But still, there's gonna be more of these clowns to take out. I gotta be smart. I can't go full on from the beginning.
It's because of scenes like these is what gets me to admire Natsu more than any other character. Not to mention how loyal he is towards his comrades and new friends along the way, even the annoying characters like the Chicklebutt Kings in the fillers. So now that I am done talking about his character and how he developed throughout the series, let's talk about his backstory. So from the beginning, we learned that Natsu was raised by his foster father named Igneel, who turns out to be the Fire Dragon King. He taught Natsu the language, how to read and write, and he taught him Dragon Slayer magic. But then suddenly he disappeared one day, leaving Natsu behind without a trace. And so since then, Natsu made himself a personal quest to find Igneel after joining Fairy Tail. It's been several years since Igneel's disappearance, and along the way, Natsu came across other Dragon Slayers like Gagio, Wendy, Sing and Road, who were also raised by dragons and also disappeared on the same date as Igneel. It is discovered that the 5 dragons had a plan for their Dragon Slayer children, which is to train them into defeating the Black Dragon Acnologia, who is shown on Tenra Island, shown again on Tartaros, and once more at the end of the series finale. So, where did Igneel disappear to? Now that was the question I've been wanting answers for since the beginning, and then I finally get my answer. It turns out that he never left. In fact, he's been sealed inside Natsu for the past 7 years. Or I mean 14 years, because the 7-year time skip fairy spiritual sealing spell. And so after 14 years, the two reunited once again, facing off their foes and dealing with Acnologia and Tartaros. But then... yeah, that happened, and because of that tragic scene, Natsu decided to leave the guild and train for 1 entire year. And I would like to talk about this scene again, only this time it's on Natsu. The impact of him leaving and not telling anyone else from the guild, that's gotta be the dickest move that this guy has ever done. I mean, he technically did told Lucy about his 1-year absence of training for a year, and I know I've been bashing Lucy for being a sourpuss as she expected better from him, but you know what? After looking from Natsu's point of view, she's actually got a good point of him leaving all of a sudden. Which begs the question, why didn't Natsu talk to her about his plan in the first place? I actually asked this one question on social media and got some pretty good answers. Of course, I do have my own little theory as to why he left without a warning, but I do like to hear from others first. This one is from Adrian Rusco. Maybe he wrote that letter because he had already made up his mind and didn't want to give Lucy a chance to talk him out of it or demands to come with him. Although Natsu writing a letter and not talking to Lucy directly seems out of character for him. Perhaps it was made that way to emphasize how devastating it was to lose Igneel, or Mashima thought that this would be the most dramatic way to do it. Okay, that kinda makes sense, and the loss of his father is actually part of my theory. The next one is from... okay, I'm gonna try to pronounce this right, and if I pronounce it wrong, I am so sorry, but here it goes. Thurlami El Pimento Mistrobum. Again, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but Thurlami said maybe he didn't see her when he broke into her house as usual, so he left it there when she gets back. That or maybe Igneel's death was too devastating for him, so he wanted to leave to clear his head. IDK. I remember replying back to Salami about the letter thing, and he said he forgot about that part, and about being too devastating is a good one, just like the previous comment I read. Okay, this is from Travis Horton. Probably cause Lucy would either stop him from leaving or go with him. We really don't know how Natsu got that power up from Igneel, and I could see Natsu possibly hurting himself to get it. Lucy being there, she could have stopped Natsu, therefore he couldn't get it. Similar to what she did when Natsu got that fire power-up from Ignea, she could have stopped him, and not wanting to see Lucy get hurt or make her cry, he decided to stop, therefore he decided to get the power boost for Zera. Now this is an answer I can get behind. Comparing to what happened in 100 Year Quest, spoilers ahead by the way, you see Lucy hugging Natsu to stop him from killing the water dragon. And to what Travis said, he is afraid of hurting her or making her cry. Now the last comment I'm gonna read is from Joshua Hollock. I think that he might not have the heart to tell her to her face, and that he might have lost the will to go, but that is just my thoughts. So he didn't have the courage to tell his partner because of his own issues is understandable. It shows that he is human. They're all good answers, and I have the same ideas as you guys, and that is this. My idea of Natsu not telling her in person due to his devastation of Igneel's death, and believes that if Lucy came along, he could hurt her while training. Now for my idea of Natsu devastated of Igneel's death came from chapter 107 in 100 Requests, where he sees the two dragons fighting each other. And at first he wanted to join them, but then the fighting got so intense, his memory of Igneel being shredded, and thus having him stop the fight by shouting at them. It shows that Natsu is still traumatized from that part of his life, and being a tough guy isn't going to make the pain go away. There is a possibility that Natsu could be suffering from PTSD. Now instead of Natsu's emotional moments in the next scene, after this scene, it's going to focus on Little Miss Lonely Whiner here. I'm sorry, but that still doesn't feel right to me. And speaking of Miss Whiner, the reason why Natsu didn't talk to Lucy in person about his 1-year training is because, like Adrian said, Lucy wouldn't want to go with them or try to stop them, and Natsu knows that. He's been with Lucy for a while now to understand her behavior. If Lucy left with them and not knowing about the guild's disbandment, who will be the one to track down everyone's location? So maybe leaving a letter was a smart thing to do. Of course, Natsu could say no, but I don't think Lucy will take no for an answer. Even though I have the idea as to why Natsu did what he did, I still think it was a dick move on his part, and the most disappointing I felt from him. There are a lot of times when Natsu is being a dumbass, but my god, where do I begin? You know what, I'm just gonna let him say it.
So what you're saying is that all those times I crumpled cities on jobs and got the council's undies in a wad, those were the wrong things to do?
Of course they were!
Yeah, that sums up everything. Well, most of it anyway. It is hard to watch his character without smashing your head against the wall, but at the same time it brushes over as if nothing ever happened. Now let us talk more about his backstory. Natsu was born 400 years ago in a small village with his parents and his older brother Zera. The parents and Natsu sadly died due to the dragon attack in the village, which caused Zera into depression and willing to do anything to get his little brother back. He managed to succeed as Natsu was reborn as a demon known as END, and later on was given to Igneel by Zera, as Natsu and the dragon created a bond and relationship as father and son. Once Igneel disappeared on the year X777, Natsu was found by the fairy tale guild master Makarov and joined his guild. Since then, Natsu had a personal quest to find Igneel, and I've already mentioned about Igneel being inside Natsu, but what I didn't mention is the reason why.
The first was to create antibodies within you, to keep you from ever undergoing any physical transformation. Thankfully, that process was successful, and you will never experience the dragonification that Agnologia once did. And now the other reason. We were waiting for the perfect time to fix our mistakes. It was our destructive legacy that brought Agnologia to this world, and we wanted to be the ones to personally eliminate him.
So, there you have it. Igneel explained everything for us. What else about Natsu's childhood that I should talk about? Well, I don't think there isn't much left. You know, despite being an important character, there isn't much about Natsu's past. I mean, we don't even get the names of his parents. I know they're not as important as Igneel, but it would be nice to hear about their origin. In fact, in my fan fiction, The Celestial Prince, I created an origin story about them. Feel free to check it out, I'll put a link in the description. And now back to Natsu. Like I said, not much to say about his past before joining the guild. But after, however, you see an episode of him and his childhood friend Lazana taking care of an egg which turns out to be Happy. Then there is the Daphne arc, in which Natsu finds a dragon egg in a small village. He heard a voice from the shadow person and made a promise to save them one day. Which is good, but there is one problem. Natsu forgot about that village and mistook it for a dream, and Gray had to step in, which led to a betrayal and getting Natsu captured by Daphne as she uses him as a power source for her mechanical dragon. And this is what I like about this arc. I actually like my favorite characters being the captured victims and used for any source of means for the villains. Seeing Natsu inside that dragon impresses me on another level. Natsu is saving everyone he loves, and it's time for them to save him. But Sadly, that level of impression died down when I got to the last episode. You see, in one episode, you have Urza and the others reliving their times with Natsu, thinking about his courage and kindness that helped them during those times. And then, in the next episode, they are bad-mouthing him about breaking a promise. I know they're doing it to make him angry enough to destroy the dragon from the inside due to Gray's plan, but still, that's kind of messed up. It felt like they were using him. The same thing happens in 100 Year Quest during the fight with the water dragon. At least, that's how I saw it. Natsu will be willing to do it if Gray just told him about the Dragonoid in the first place. And I bet you Natsu will just jump in that machine himself and just go berserk. I know this is just a filler, but I thought I'd point this out. And this also proves one of Natsu's major flaws, besides the motion sickness. It's his forgetfulness. Now, there are some times he doesn't forget, like something or someone important to him. But there are times when he doesn't remember a person or their names. Like in episode 2, he keeps forgetting Lucy's name, but starts remembering again in episode 3. And then there's the enemies and faces in the past, like this guy from Tenor Island, as he reappears in the Avatar arc. I actually brought his name too, so I guess he's not a really good example. And so along with the other character that seemed to be forgotten, and in Avatar, Natsu not only defeated that guy from Tenor Island, but he also managed to defeat a demigod of war with one shot. Yeah, another flaw about Natsu is that he gets all these random upgrades and power-ups. In some cases, the extra power is given to him, like Jalal's Golden Flames, Loxus's Lightning, and the power of the 7 dragons. And even the flames from Igneal's biological son, Igneal, in the Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest. But some of his defeat towards his strong opponents is because of the power of friendship, which is a cliche that happens so often in this anime that they should rename the show The Power of Friendship the Anime. But luckily, the writers balance it out in the later episodes of the series. Natsu Dragneel is a primary usable character in that cliche, along with everyone else. And that is all I have to say about this character. Thank you so much for watching, and please tell me about your thoughts on this character. Do you like him? Dislike him? Do you think he's the best or the worst? Whatever your opinions on this character, I will respect it. And I appreciate if you respect mine. And if you are new here, you can subscribe to this channel, and you can also hit that notification button for more updates on my newest videos. And don't forget, you can check me out on Twitter, TikTok, and Discord. And I'll see you all in the next video. RoseRed17 out.